All right, so good morning and welcome to our fourth day of our Global Entrepreneurship Week. Good morning to the San Marcos region, heart of the innovation corridor, and home to a burgeoning number of entrepreneurs. It's no wonder that we have been bringing you the collective wisdom of speakers and panels this week covering the total health for entrepreneurs. Today, we will explore Get Business Fit. Kicking off with Mr. Jason Mock, the well-regarded chamber executive here in San Marcos. We will enjoy a number of panel business experts, and then we will close out our week with great prizes, and you will not want to miss any of this. My name is Pastor Jonathan Banbury, pastor of Commission Ministries, and I will be your host today. I'm also a member of the Dunbar Heritage Association and the secretary. So I want to urge you to check out the scavenger hunt that we are conducting that will lead you to a number of prizes at the end of today's session at 11:50 a.m. But you must be present to win. So check the chat to view today's scavenger hunt assignment. Now I am excited to introduce today's keynote speaker, Mr. Jason Mock. He has served as the president of the San Marcos Area Chamber of Commerce since August of 2016. He came to Texas from the Cumming Forsyth County Chamber of Commerce in Georgia. Prior to chamber work, Jason worked on political campaigns. He is an important cornerstone in this region, and we are pleased to have him join us today to discuss doing business in this region. Jason.
Good morning for having me. Hope everybody can hear me. I am actually not in San Marcos today. I have yesterday, my wife and I came out to see family. It is my nephew's baptism this weekend. So we're actually in Montgomery, Alabama right now, halfway, a little bit over halfway home to see family for that ceremony. But it's great to be here to talk about innovation and the work that is going on in the San Marcos region. And for those, I am the president of the San Marcos Area Chamber of Commerce, been there, as the pastor said, since 2017 or 16. And, the work that the chamber puts on, the work that our business community puts on is really cultivating and working with entrepreneurs, working with those startups, working with folks that have an idea and how to get those guys across the finish line. And so we do a lot of different things in our programming, in our work. We have over 550 members representing over 54,000 employees. And so we know the importance of entrepreneurship. We know the importance of growing a business in our region. And our region has some great attributes that we like to highlight. I mean, we are right. I always say, people say, oh, it's in our backyard. Well, it's not. This is not in our backyard. This is in our front yard. We're blessed to have Texas State University in our front yard. We're blessed to have partnerships like Splash and the Greater San Marcos Partnership and our Downtown Main Street group that work collaboratively to grow business. And that's the focus. And I think that's the focus that we have to take as a community and as a region, is to look at things as a regional standpoint, a partnership. Not one entity can do this. It takes everyone. It takes a village to raise a family. And so we as an organization embrace that. Our community embraces that. And that's why the chamber plays a major role in growing businesses. We become the voice of the business community. We advocate for our businesses. We find out what those struggles are, and when they are brought to our attention, we advocate for them. So as simple as it could be, a company is trying to get permitting through our city and is running through roadblocks. They can reach out to an organization like the Chamber of Commerce, and they can find ways to navigate that permitting process so that business can open up. We know time is of the essence when it comes to when it comes to a business. We know that it is important for a business to have the foundation. And when they start to have those roadblocks, they start to get frustrated, just like we always do. And so if we can have that partnership like a Chamber of Commerce and a Splash and Greater San Marcos Partnership and many others, we know that we can accomplish that goal and give our entrepreneurs the availability to succeed. We are seeing, as the pastor said, a lot of growth in our region. from many reasons. We are centrally located between two major cities, Austin and San Antonio, and that growth coming out of those two cities, we're seeing entrepreneurs settling into to the San Marcos region for many different reasons. One of those is quality of life. We are blessed to have the San Marcos region right in our backyard. And when you have those attributes, you're looking at, entrepreneurs are looking at different factors. Some entrepreneurs, they can start their business right in their living room. And so they don't need an office space. They don't need a brick and mortar. So what they're looking for is that quality of life, where they can raise their family, where they can go and enjoy trails or nature. So those kind of things are play into factors when it comes to growth of a business, not just the business model of a brick and mortar. You want to make sure that you have your customers and your clientele right there for the growth of a community. And so when a chamber looks at different things, when we look at different things, we're always looking at ways to expand. So some of the things that we have started to work on for the new year is continuing to look at different programming. We've started a coffee and commerce about 2 years ago, where we gather individuals together every Friday, and they come together over a cup of coffee, and they just talk, and they just network. They find out what's going on. There's no kind of pitch things like a 1 million cups or things like that. It's more of a networking thing to kind of find out what's going on. And to that note about a 1 million cups, there's a group that's actually working on things like that to hopefully bring that to the playing field for San Marcos and our region in the coming future, so that our entrepreneurs can continue to be able to successfully network, grow from one another, and succeed. At the end, entrepreneurship, business growth comes down to a plan. And you have to have that plan available. You have to vet that plan, and that plan takes time. And so I encourage you, if you're in that early stage of growing your business, trying to figure out that idea, you have that, that you think that $1 million idea, or maybe it's just a $1,000 idea, but you want to bring that to fruition. Take the time to pull that together. Do your research. Invest early in your business, in your products. Find out about the patents. Find out about the legal side of the names and the structure. And at the end, once you have all that, you can pull that together and be more successful at the end, or during the process. And so I encourage you, if you're interested in more entrepreneurship, if you're trying and you're thinking about taking on that challenge, reach out to us, Chamber. Reach out to partnerships like Splash and Corinna and the Greater San Marcos Partnership, or Josie at San Marcos Main Street. And if you're not in the San Marcos region, and you're looking at this and you're watching this segment, and you may be sitting in Alabama right now. Who knows? You may be somewhere else. Reach out to your local partners so that you can engage with them, because at the end, your local partners want you to succeed. We know you need to succeed. You're the ecosystem that continues to grow our community and grow our economy. And without you, we will not be successful. So we, as entities like the Chamber and others, we want to see you succeed. And we want to do everything we can. We want to take down those roadblocks, cut those barriers. At the end of the day, the more barriers there are up for businesses to grow, the harder it is for them to grow. And so for our sake, we're looking at ways to cut that red tape. If it's working with our city, working with our county, or just working directly with the business itself to sit there and find different techniques. It may be, struggling with QuickBooks and financing, because that, at the end of the day, that's one of the scariest parts of opening a business. You have this great idea and you think about it and you say, I know how to make this widget. I know how to make this product, but I don't know how to get it to market, or I don't know how to price it. And you just give up. Well, don't, because there's people out there. There's entities out there that will help you. And I say this, the Chamber and myself, we don't have every answer out there. what we have is, and I said this the other day, and somebody looked at me, we have a Rolodex. And somebody goes, what's Rolodex? Well, we have a Rolodex. Yes, I guess I'm dating myself a little bit. But we have an entity or a group of contacts that we can connect you to help you solve those problems and work through those different challenges so that at the end, you're successful. I thank you for allowing me to speak for a few minutes about entrepreneurship. I encourage you each and every day to look at the entrepreneurship, the global side of it, and the impacts it has on our community, on our state, and on our nation. Again, without you, we would not be successful as a community, as a state, and a country. So I thank you for all the work that you do as entrepreneurs. You really, truly put everything on the line every day. There's not a safety net that you can fall back to. There's not a company, a corporation that can bail you out. Unfortunately, you are on your own some days, but not every day, because there's entities that will help you. There's entities that will guide you and believe in you and market you and just push you across that finish line. So I encourage you to continue the path of your goals of being an entrepreneur. I encourage you to continue inventing, investing, thinking up new ideas. You know, entrepreneurs come up with that one idea, and 5 minutes later they go, I got 10 more. And that's awesome. And so I just continue to say, you know, again, you are the backbone of our community and our economy. And I look forward to working with our entrepreneurs in our region and the regions entrepreneurs across the country. And just know that there are entities out there that will help you and guide you through this process, that you are not alone in this world. So thank you so much for allowing me to be here. I know we have a guest coming on that we're going to do some fireside chats and talk a little bit about her struggle, her entrepreneurship, her goals, what she's accomplished, how she's gotten there. Valerie Ward with Sweet Ritual has got some great stories to tell us and great feedback. So I know she's going to be joining us in a few minutes. I think we're running a few minutes fast. So, here's Pastor. Thank you so much.
Yes. So while we're tap dancing and waiting for Valerie to get here, I'm here to help you out. So you said a lot of great things, but the one thing that I kept hearing you say over and over again, and that I think is so important about the fact that it may feel like you're alone sometimes, but you're not. So, and I totally knew what you were talking about when you brought up the Rolodex. So don't feel bad that you're dating yourself. I was like, yeah, the Rolodex. I feel like I probably have one in my office somewhere if I look hard enough. But for those of you who don't know what the Rolodex is, kiddos, it used to be this little thing, this gadget that was so revolutionary that they had these cards that you would write phone numbers and addresses and information, and you could flip it. And now we just have cell phones. But speaking to the digital Rolodex of entities, what are some more entities that people can reach out to for people who may have no idea? They just have a business idea, they have a product, they have a service. What are some of the entities that people could reach out to if they are just getting started and they don't know where to turn?
You know, a great place to start, not only from a chamber standpoint, but if you're just in a community, every community has a local library. And it's a great opportunity to start and just go into your local library and talk to your librarians about, starting a business. Number one, there are thousands of books about starting a business, and I imagine they have a few of them in the library. So that's one place I would start. Some other places, depending on, again, your community, what you have around you, sometimes the local cities, governments have an entity that will help entrepreneurs, help businesses start. So in San Marcos, we're blessed. We have a lot of different entities and great entities that will help entrepreneurs. But from a city standpoint, we have a Main Street program. And so our Main Street program really looks at entrepreneurs and downtown investment. But at the same time, if you're trying to start a business in downtown or anywhere in the community, you face some of the same challenges. So there's a lot of like low-hanging fruit, I would say, outside of a chamber or an economic development entity to start with. And another one, and right up your alley, your churches. You know, a lot of times your churches are engaged in business growth, financial growth, and so they can give you those platforms and direct you into folks that may be able to help you.
Okay, that's really great advice. Really great advice. So you talked about having a plan. So for people who probably went to college or had some type of formal training, that's a very familiar experience. Is you learn about the business plan, and so let's talk to people who may not have had that formal training in college. You didn't get a business degree or something to that nature, but you talk about a plan, because I think there's an expression that it's like, if you don't, and I'm getting ready to mess this up because it just escaped me. It just like went out the window, but it's something about planning to fail or failing to plan or something to that nature. It's like, if you don't, have a plan, then what you're really doing by default is planning to fail. So talk about the importance of a plan and what that looks like for people who may not have that formal class experience or knowing about what a business plan looks like.
First, I'd say, if you look at a lot of entrepreneurs out there, they don't start at the university college level. They really come out of their garage or their basement, and they just, because they have this drive, they know they have this end goal of, I have an idea and I'm going to get there. And I think it starts with a plan. And what I say is, in today's world, we are connected through internet and technology, that you can access those plans. SCORE is an entity that every community and every region has. SBDC, Small Business Development Center, is another one that are free entities that will help you with those plans. But SCORE.org, and so in Austin, there's an Austin SCORE chapter. They actually have plans that are already templates. So business plans, your first financials, all these kind of plans already laid out for an entrepreneur or a business to just go in there and start plugging in their numbers. And so those are some places also to start. But I think at the end, write it down. Just take out a sheet of paper, a bunch of sheets of paper, and just start writing down your ideas. And then once you start doing that, you can be able to connect those dots and just start to really form that plan. Because, you're right. If you don't start with a plan, you will potentially end up failing at that program.
Okay, that is great advice. Those are great resources. So you talked about this particular region, San Marcos, being in between two major cities, and you mentioned being here and having the quality of life as something that draws people here to the region. How important is that in terms of being an entrepreneur, over the course of your business life, and wherever your business ventures land you or wherever you end up? How important is quality of life?
I think it's very important, because at the end of the day, when you start a business and you're an entrepreneur, usually you're starting in your living room. And so you don't really worry about brick and mortar, and you got to go, where do I want to live? What do I want to be involved with? When I'm not dealing with my business, do I want to go out and, be able to get to the river? Or do I want to be able to go to trails? Or I want to be able to access restaurants, or whatever it may be that you want to access. So that quality of life. But then at the end, as you're growing your business and you're going from that, that intro stage of starting it to maybe opening up a brick and mortar, or maybe just staying online, but needing customers, needing clientele. You look around, those customers attract to places where quality of life is at the highest. And so that also when it comes down to finding workers, you want to find your workforce. And so workers attract to places where there's quality of life. And so at the end, people don't want to live. And look, I was on the road yesterday from 10 to midnight from Texas to Alabama, and I saw some towns that are some beautiful places of the country. And I saw some towns that, we're going to keep driving through. And so if you drive through those towns, why would you want to start a business there? There's nothing there. Why want to start a business there? And so quality of life really plays a role, I think, in entrepreneurship as much as it does the business model and what you want to develop and build.
Okay. Those are great points. I never thought about it like that, but absolutely, that is very important. So, So I'm thinking, okay, so we're in a different era now that I didn't think we expected to be, obviously. So so now a lot of people are having to think about different ways to have their business, to conduct their business. I think one of our entrepreneur sponsors this week, Splash Co-working, has a great model for people who are looking to do business but may not necessarily have a place to conduct their business. It's someplace that you can go that can differentiate yourself from your home space and your workspace. So let's talk a little bit about in your breadth of your experience doing business and what it's the difference between doing business pre-2020, pre-COVID, and what that looks like now. What are the changes? What type of adaptations? And how can businesses that are struggling at this point adapt and survive? So
first of all, let's take a step back. Let's go back into to like maybe 7 months ago, 6 months ago, when COVID first hit, and nobody knew what COVID was. I mean, we were just boom thrown this virus, and government came down, local governments, state governments, everybody came in and said shut down for a couple of days or for a couple of weeks. Some are still shut down. How do I manage? You're not essential, so therefore you can't open. You can't operate. That day, when those business leaders and those already started a business, when they did not say, when those that went on vacation and stayed on vacation, they're still on vacation and they're not succeeding. I would say those individuals that had a business plan and got shut down and then said, you know what, we're shut down, but we're going to have to look at our model because the model's going to have to change. And that's number one thing in entrepreneurship. And I think our entrepreneurs know this better than anybody, better than government, better than any sector out there, is adaptation, changing, knowing that, hey, today we're going down the path, but tomorrow we may have to take a left. And the next day we may have to take another right. We may take another left and right and keep going. We're going to have to pivot, and we're going to have to we're going to see those potholes. We're going to avoid those potholes, and we're going to grow from our challenges. And so those individuals during that time that really drilled down in their business model, looked at new ways to showcase their products, produce their products, have been successful and will be successful in the long run through this pandemic, as long as it's around for us. Those individuals that were starting a business, I think, were really kind of blessed because they knew the model was, hey, I can't do a brick and mortar. I have to go online. My clients aren't going to come into a shop, nor can I pay for a space that I can't maybe get into right now. So those entrepreneurs that were just starting up at the beginning of the COVID phase, I think are now focused all 100%. How can I make my business model all online selling? Now, our guest is coming up in a few minutes. Valerie, how can a food entity sell online? It's very tough, but some have been able to find a way. There's I think restaurants, our hospitality has really been hit during COVID. Restaurants really have been hit hard, but those restaurants that pivoted from going into the establishment to to-go orders or drive-through really have been successful. And those who have been able to say, you know what, we're going to package it up, and we're going to mail it to you, have even been successful. I'll give you a great example. We have a local pizza place in San Marcos, Gumby's. Forrest and his brother do a great job. And I encourage you, if you haven't gone to Gumby's Pizza, go downtown to San Marcos, visit Gumby's, and check them out. But during this process, they were taking the raw dough, the toppings, and they were putting it all in a box. And then they were selling it. And what they were doing is they were doing videos like this where families could learn to make pizza together. And so they would teach those. And so families would go and buy the pizza dough and all the toppings in a box. They'd go home, they'd watch the video that Forrest and his brother and his teams put together, and they'd learn how to make the pizza. And then they would cook it. And so it's that whole idea of thinking outside the box. And so COVID really has made us think differently in a lot of different ways. But when it comes to entrepreneurship, when it comes to business, it really leans on using technology. I mean, who knew about Zoom 7 months ago? I'll tell you what, and I think if we all knew about Zoom, we would have loved to got some stock in Zoom about December of 2019, and roll it in that right now. And then the education side. I mean, let's look at these individuals that are going through school and how they have changed in K through 12. All of that has adapted, and now it's online platform where you are now speaking. I mean, look, we're having a conversation right now. You're in San Marcos, Texas, and I'm in Montgomery, Alabama right now. Yeah. And I would say even at the end of 2019, yes, it was possible, but people would not have jumped on this. People would have been like, I'm not attending a meeting through Zoom. I'm not going to attend a networking event through online. If it's not in person, I'm not going to do it. So finding those new ways of adapting and networking through technology is how these new entrepreneurs are going to have to succeed. And being able to potentially, hopefully one day, and I don't want to throw our brick and mortars, throw those out with the baby without the bathwater. I want those brick and mortars to succeed. I mean, those are hearts of our community. Yeah. And we got beautiful brick and mortar facilities in San Marcos in downtown that you want those people to come out. They grow and they connect one another. But in the meantime, you have to have that platform where I can be on brick and mortar, and then I also can be online so that I can serve my customers. Because if you're not serving your customers and your clients, you're not serving anybody, and therefore you're dying.
Right.
I hope that answers some of your questions.
Oh no, totally. I loved the example that you used about Gumby's and how platforms like Twitter and Instagram and Facebook are now the heart and soul of informing your customers about when you're open, if your hours are reduced, what's available, what kind of menu can you offer, what type of services are you doing, curbside, are you doing pickup, so that was a great example about Gumby's and adaptation. And I'm really grateful as a consumer myself. I'm really grateful and impressed with some of the businesses of places that I love to visit that they've been able to adapt. So I think that's a really important point, and you answered the question beautifully. I think that they might be getting ready to bring Valerie up soon, but